Hi, good evening, everyone. Thanks for dialing into tonight's webinar. Hopefully Charlie's with us. There he is. Hi, Charlie.
Hello, John. How are you? Thank you
Yeah,
very
not
much.
so bad, not so bad. So I'll let you do a quick introduction, Charlie.
Okay, guys. Thanks, John. Thanks everybody for coming on board tonight, and we'll learn some more about the Testo 300. We have Ryan from Anton's, or there's a slip of the tongue. Testo's that's what you got, a Freudian slip. Testo's media team, social media team in the background. So we will be recording tonight for use on the plumbing groups and that going forward. I'm sure you're all sick of listening to me by now, so I'm going to hand you over to John, who is Testo's product manager, and he'll take it away from here.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Charlie. So yeah, thanks very much for dialing in tonight, guys. Hopefully what we're going to try and give you tonight is a little bit more of an overview on the Testo 300, maybe make you aware of some of the things it can do, maybe some bits and pieces we'll talk about that you weren't aware of, but hopefully by the end of this sort of overview webinar, you'll have a little bit more understanding of what this device can and can't do. So diving right in. So I'm just going to do a very short brief introduction in case you're not familiar with the Testo. Then we're going to have a look at the Testo 300 range, because there's two products. There's an analyzer for both the domestic market and one for commercial. We'll talk about a little bit about some of the technical functionality of the 300, what makes it a little bit different from, dare I say it, some of the other flue gas analyzers that are out there from other manufacturers. We'll look at, we recently updated the product in quite a big way, and we'll talk about some of those updates and what that really brings to the user. We'll outline some of the key functionality, and we'll just talk a little bit about the advantages we think we've got with the Testo product. If you're not aware about Testo, we've been around for more than 60 years. Our experience is based on measurements of various different variables. Our history was based around us developing one of the first digital thermometers. Since that, we've expanded out into measurement of flue gas, refrigeration for heat pumps, air conditioning, a wide range of measurement variables. We've got 34 offices dotted all around the globe, so we really are a global company, and we develop and build some measurement solutions for some of the most demanding target groups. So outside of, for example, the HVAC arena, where a lot of people know about Testo, we do a lot of products for pharmaceutical industry, food industry, where the products themselves have to be of a very, very high standard, because they're very demanding from a QA and from a perspective of how they work. So we're used to actually developing very, very high quality instrumentation. All the products that we talk about here are all manufactured down in our factory in the Black Forest region in Germany. But we're very proud of, obviously, our German heritage and our build quality. So Testo 300, what's it all about? So it covers two key products. We have the Testo 300, which is our product for the domestic boiler applications. And we have the Testo 300 LL for commercial. So why have we got the two? What's really the difference? So within the Testo range, our domestic FGAs tend to typically have a 4,000 ppm CO sensor range. That does also have a pump shut-off, and that's actually an adjustable pump shut-off. So, for example, you could select the pump shut-off to be just 2,000 ppm and really protect your instrument. But the instrument itself is a 4,000 ppm CO sensor. The domestic models come with what we call our compact flue probe, which is really designed for more domestic type boiler applications. And two sensors fit as standard. So it has the O2 CO sensors, and it derives things like the CO2 from those calculations. When you look at the LL, the key differences when we're talking about the product for the commercial applications is they typically have a much higher CO range capability. So the 300 LL has an 8,000 ppm CO sensor, so it's double the size capability of the domestic version. But that's tied also to an auto dilution function. It's quite a neat technical advantage. What we've actually got here is a way of actually diluting the amount of gas that's hitting the sensor. So what happens with the LL is the instrument could be heading towards 8,000 ppm, i.e. the maximum of the sensor. And a lot of analyzers out there, what will happen, obviously, you could poison the instrument if you've not got a pump shut-off function. Technically, you're going to poison them by overranging the sensor. What happens in the LL is when it gets to 8,000 ppm, it realizes there's going to be a problem. And what happens is an auto dilution function kicks in, So it puts a metered amount of fresh air into the gas stream to dilute the mixture that's actually hitting the sensor. This allows the instrument to actually read right up to 30,000 ppm of CO without any damage. I've seen some amazing videos on various forums of people who've been using the 300LL and its predecessor, the 330LL, which had the same auto dilution function, in cases where they would have killed another analyzer stone dead by poisoning the CO sensor. And these things, because of the auto dilution, have been reading well up into 20,000 plus CO and without any problem at all. So this auto dilution, alongside the high CO sensor, it really is an instrument that's designed more for the commercial applications where you're likely to get these high CO levels. Again, has the O2 and CO sensors as standard. You can also have a third sensor added into this, an NO sensor for nitrogen monoxide. So typically this is going to be used to do calculated NOx. The other difference for the LL over the standard is the flue probe is a modular design, and we'll talk about that in a minute, what that really means. It's for the commercial guys, you often have very differing flue sizes, requirements from the domestic boilers, so you've actually got a range of probes that suit that application. One of the other little side things we can do with the auto dilution is it means this device can also zero while the probe is actually in the flue, but you don't have to take the probe out to get it into fresh air. Because the auto dilution, it can take effectively a fresh air reading from around the instrument, so the probe can actually remain in the flue, and you can zero in the flue. And again, this can have quite a time-saving aspect. But that's the difference really between the 300 domestic version and the 300 LL, which is the commercial version. We've also actually got the different colors now. So the domestic one is an all black color, and the black and orange, it's the LL. I've just realized what I haven't said is, if anyone's got any questions as we're going through the presentation, if you just make a note of them mentally or just on a bit of paper, we'll have a Q&A session at the end. If you've got any questions, you can put them in the chat and we'll try and answer them as well as we can there. So some basic technical features. The 300's got the integrated Android operating system. It's the only instrument out there that's got this 5-inch HD touch type screen for a truly smart operation. We've all been used to smartphones now with the beautiful screens and the way you can actually interact with it with swipe gestures. You've got exactly the same with the 300. If you want to make the screen bigger, for example, it's just literally a pinch function with your fingers and you can make the screen bigger or smaller. If you want to look at all the variables, you can squeeze obviously your fingers together, shrink the screen down or the readings down, so you can get 10 readings on the screen. If you're anything like me, with your eyesight's not quite as good, expand it out, you just get 3 measured variables on the screen. So it's a really flexible front end from a user interface point of view. It's got an integrated customer address and site detail function. So as well as being the flue gas analyzer, you can actually input into the device information about where your customer's address and site locations, even down to things like the type of boiler that's on that site and the fuel that is being used. The idea being, when you next go back to that site, you just call up the customer name. It will automatically set the fuel right for you, for example. But also when you do any reporting, those customer details will also be included on the report. You've got real wide range of options for getting the results out of the 300. You can do the traditional just a printout from our Bluetooth printer. The 300 itself can generate its own PDF report. So you've got a structured report with all the measurement values in, and that can be multiple tests. So it's not just about flue gas measurement. You can have combustion readings alongside tightness and let by readings, differential temperature readings, all on one report, and it's all generated internally in the device. There's options which we'll come to in a minute as well, of linking this to one of our Testo apps, and also we now have connectivity with some third-party apps, which I'll talk about. Device itself, rechargeable lithium-ion battery, charged via a USB socket on the side. Inside the instrument, you've got all your typical menus. So you've got your combustion readings, flue draft if you're doing solid fuel or flue testing. You've got your ambient CO for spillage around the casing. Tightness and let by, differential temperature, differential pressure. There's a gas and tightness rating. You've got all the typical tests that you're going to need to be doing on a service actually in the device. All the kits currently are supplied in a soft case with a shoulder strap. That's domestic kits. All the LL, the commercial kits, still use the traditional Testo sort of hard carry case to protect the instrument. One thing that's often not known about the Testo products, and this includes all our flue gas analyzers, we actually allow the engineer to actually have control of what's on the screen. So, for example, the picture you can see in front of us is typically a format I like. We have the ratio as the first value, then maybe your O2 value, CO, CO2 and flue temperature. If you, for example, want the CO value to be the key one at the top, you can very, very simply just go into the measurement view and reconfigure the running order of the screen. And so that's something that not only the 300 has got, but all the Testo analyzers. It's actually a powerful function because not everybody wants the information displayed in their own way. We have some people, for example, also don't want that much information on the screen. They may only want the ratio O2 and CO value. They don't really want all the other information the instrument can give them. So you can actually delete lines as well. If you don't want them, you can put it into a bin, delete it from the screen. You can always add it back in, but you can make the measurement view as simple or as complex as you want it and in the form you want it. So it's a very, very flexible product to configure to your own requirements. 4 very powerful magnets. Make sure that this obviously stays on the boiler. Obviously with the touch screen, you don't want this thing dropping off. So we've got probably the most powerful magnets of any flue gas analyzer I've seen. Make sure this stays on the boiler. Very large and clearly marked condensate trap on the back of the instrument with a very easy to use bung to drain down from condensate. From an operational point of view, you can either have the unit fully switched off between jobs, or you can put it in a standby mode, a bit like your phone, where you can put it into a sleep mode. That really means that when you get to your next job, rather than having to go to the startup sequence, you can literally just take it out of sleep mode and be up and running within seconds and ready to measure. Something else we have in the 300, which is a little bit unique, we've got a built-in check function for what we call a gas pathway. Obviously, one of the key things with a flue gas analyzer and the sampling probe is ensuring that you've got absolute gas tightness between the two. If you've got any excess air being sucked in, that's going to dilute your readings. You're going to get incorrect readings and incorrect boiler setting. So what we have in the 300 is a way of checking effectively from the tip of the flue probe right the way through all the hose to the connector and internally into the instrument. We basically use the pump on the instrument to put a vacuum, and it has to be of a sufficient vacuum to say there is no leakage. So it's a really easy way to do regular checking. I try and encourage people maybe do it once a month just to make sure that there isn't, for some reason, a leak or a problem on the hose of the probe that's causing basically it to be non-gas tight. But that's, say, one of the standard functions in the instrument as well. So you can see there all the selectable test menus are included in the instrument, and all the currently selectable fuels. We are currently in discussion with our factory in Germany, for example, to try and look at HVO. I know a lot of people are looking at that as a fuel that's coming in from the oil sector. And again, one of the beauties of this as a product is for our guys in Germany, it's very easy for them to roll out firmware updates. It's a bit like with the way your phone updates, they can do an update to the Android system, and that actually gets pushed out now via our app. So there's no reason for the instrument having to come back, for example, to Testo Service Center, which used to be the way with all our previous products where they were having a firmware update. Now, as soon as an update comes out, it gets pushed out via the app. So the domestic versions I was talking about gets supplied with our standard compact flue gas probe, 6mm by 180mm shaft with normal sort of cone and screw. Temperature maximum thermocouple of this of 500 degrees C and 1.5 meters of hose. I'll talk a little bit more about our hose and connector in a minute because they are quite unique, and again they set us out as being very different from some of the other flue gas manufacturers out there. The compact probe also has a very, very simple and easily accessible primary filter located in the back, and that's there to be your primary point of stopping the initial condensation or any soot if you're doing a lot of oil-fired appliances. But very easy to check the filters and to change filters as needed. For the LL, the commercial guys, they have a little bit more of a different requirement sometimes. So with the LL, you get what's known as our modular flue gas probe. It's slightly different from compact, looks very similar. 8mm shaft rather than 6mm, because obviously for a lot of commercial applications, it needs to be a bit more robust. 500 degrees C temperature max on the thermocouple again, 2 meters of hose. What's really good about the modular probe construction, though, is we actually give you the ability to actually change the shaft from the handle. So we know with the commercial guys, they're often going to very, very differing size flues. Some of them can be quite large, different probe lengths are ideally needed. So with this, rather than having to have a whole range of different probes, you just basically change out the probe shaft to suit the application. There is another benefit of this type of construction. If, for example, the thermocouple fails, you can actually unplug this, plug one of the other probes in, and maybe send that shaft back to Testo service to have the thermocouple replaced while carrying on working. So that's the modular construction. And both those probes link to the instrument with the unique connector that we have within Testo. So again, unlike maybe some of the other manufacturers out there are used to, we have a connection between the sampling probe and the instrument, which is a single connection. So we know, for example, some other manufacturers, you have a connection from the actual gas pathway, and then there's a separate little 2-pin thermocouple plug normally that needs to be plugged in. That is the flue temperature thermocouple. We don't have those two connectors in the Testo. We have one integrated connector, and that connector brings both the gas pathway and the connection from the temperature sensor down to the instrument. It's a locking connector. It's all aluminium construction. It's very, very robust. When this is on, there is no way that is coming out, being unplugged, or giving you a dodgy connection. And obviously, if you've got a poor connection here, again, you're going to be sucking in excess air. Your reading's going to be wrong. So we think we've got probably one of the best engineered solutions regarding the connection between the flue gas analyzer and its sampling probe. Also, we don't use a straight rubber hose. Again, we know we've done various testing over the years, and we know that rubber hoses can get crimped, get caught, and you can restrict gas flow. Within the hose on ours, we actually have a 2mm fast or small diameter PTFE hose. That gives us a very fast gas transfer from the sampling probe to the instrument. PTFE is non-reactive, so we don't get any problems with gases dropping out and again causing readings, particularly on the commercial side. But that PTFE has an overbraiding and then a vinyl overwrap, so it's a very, very robust probe that cannot be crimped or pressed to restrict the gas flow. And it's little details like that. Again, I think it sets out our sort of German design and heritage about making sure that the product is right technically. Some other areas you might not be aware of with the Testo analyzer. So all the Testo analyzers, the CO sensors that are fitted have a replaceable filter. It's a filter that's not designed to be customer replaceable, but it's done by our service team. And this filter is there to counter the cross sensitivity aspect of CO sensors to NO. It's a little bit one of those sort of situations not really talked about a lot, but if you've got an NO sensor, all electrochemical NO sensors will have some form of cross sensitivity to levels of NO. If you don't have these filters, what can happen? Typically, it will happen on oil-fired appliances. With gas-fired, you don't tend to get particularly high NO levels, but with oil-fired, you do. Without these filters, what can happen is the CO sensor, because it's cross sensitivity, it will actually have a reading error because of the NO that's also within the gas sample. So the idea of this filter, it filters out the NO before it gets to the sensor. Therefore, the CO sensor is only seeing the true CO value, and it's not getting this cross sensitivity issue. And it's something that we don't talk about a lot with the Testo products, but it's standard on all the Testo CO sensors. Obviously, we spoke about you can customize the main operating screen with reference to which measured values take prominence, which ones you maybe don't want to see, and also for some variables you've got the options to allow the information to be displayed in different units. So, and a classic example of this will be NOx. Sometimes you might not need to be reporting in ppm, but milligrams per kilowatt hour, milligrams per meter cubed. You can actually change the units, if you like, that are required to be seen on the instrument. And again, it's very, very flexible to be able to do that. We spoke a lot about obviously our really unique metal construction on the flue gas probe connector, and we talked about the small bore PTFE hose that really allows us to get this fast gas transfer and very, very quick readings. So when the flue gas combustion readings are changing, you tend to see it very, very quickly on the instrument because we've got this fast gas flow. All the domestic analyzers, as I say, are fitted with a 4000 ppm CO sensor, automatic pump shut off, and that pump shut off is adjustable. So although its factory's default is 4000 ppm, if you really want to protect your instrument, set it down to 2000 ppm. You make sure the pump is going to cut off nice and early. It's really going to protect the sensor from any form of overranging. And obviously we spoke about the commercial goes right up to 8000, and then with the dilution cutting in goes right up to 30,000 ppm without damage. Something we're seeing a lot, obviously here more in the UK, we're getting a lot of people talking about, well, is my instrument going to be future proof? We know a thing about hydrogen and blended gas. All the Testo flue gas models currently are suitable for use with up to a 20% hydrogen blend. They were all tested as part of the TB157 testing that was going on. And also we said there's the option of having the NO sensor, and that can be fitted to the domestic model. We don't tend to see that much, but certainly the LL for the commercial side, a lot of people are looking at NOx. And if you put the NO sensor in, we can then make sure the instrument can give you a calculated NOx value. So the big update really with the 300 happened last year in September. We added some changes to both the firmware and the hardware, and this was based around the connectivity to allow the 300 to talk to our award-winning range of smart probes. You may already be familiar with the smart probe range. They've been very successful in our Testo product range now for around 6 years. And what this allows now is a number of the probes to actually directly link to the 300. So it means that as well as looking at combustion values, you can actually get some direct other measurements on the same screen. So you're recording all the variables at one time. So how does this work? So basically we use a small USB Bluetooth dongle that plugs into the 300, and that gives us connectivity to up to 4 smart probes in total. So the smart probes that can connect to the 300 currently is we have the ability to use the Testo 115i, which is our Bluetooth pipe clamp probe. So it gives you the ability to do flow and return, completely wireless, no cables having to go to the instrument. And again, the Bluetooth range with these to the instrument, it will allow you to do typically in 20 or 30 meters, no problem at all. The other product that can be connected to it now is the Testo 510i, which is our Bluetooth differential pressure manometer. And the advantage of having this connected is it now allows us to do parallel measurement of both the combustion values and also gas pressure readings. And finally, the other product that can now talk to it is the Testo 915i, and this will be typically used either for water temperature, or we see in Germany they're actually using this also for measuring things like the combustion air temperature. But effectively, up to 4 smart probes can work with the 300, and it's got to come. Those 4 probes have got to come from this range of 3 probes here. So typically, what we're seeing is people would use 2 of the 115i's to do the flow and return. They'd use 1 510i manometer to do the gas pressure, and that gives them the 4th instrument, which is the 915i, typically for doing water temperature, let's say, or air combustion temperature if needed. I have already spoken to a couple of people in the UK who have actually asked, can I have 2 manometers rather than 1? And absolutely fine. If you can actually have 4 manometers if you really wanted, as long as it's from this range of 3 probes, it can be up to 4 of them. So if, for example, you had 2 pressure readings, maybe 1 at the meter and 1 at the appliance, you could see both of those by using 2 510i manometers with the instrument. But it's this ability to have all these now connected via Bluetooth and have all the information on one screen, so you're able to see a lot of information when you're doing your combustion testing. So I say to allow this, you basically have to plug in this USB adapter. It goes into one of the little USB-C ports at the bottom of the instrument, and that basically then opens up this connectivity for channel for the 4 smart probes. You can see which instruments are connected via the settings menu, so you can see at all times what's there. If somebody's got one of the older 300s that's not supplied with this, so say everything from September last year is now automatically provided with this little Bluetooth adapter. But if for some reason it's maybe somebody's bought a 300 earlier, you can buy the Bluetooth adapter as an upgrade. And if you've not got any smart probes, you can buy actually a part of an upgrade kit, which is 3 smart probes and the little Bluetooth adapter as a package. At the same time we rolled out the smart probe connectivity, the other big update was allowing the 300 to talk to our existing smart app. And again, if you've ever used any of the Testo smart probes or maybe some of our other products, we've had the smart app out now for the smart app, sorry, out in our range now for 6 years. It's a great piece of software, allows you to do a lot of measurement, typically direct onto a phone or tablet. With the 300, what we actually opened up is the ability to use this app as a second screen. So for example, that would be particularly useful for some of the larger commercial servicing, where often the sampling point is a considerable way away from where any adjustments to the burner are going to be made. So rather than having to keep walking back and forward from the screen, looking at what's happening, going back to the burner and adjusting it, with this, you can actually stand with your phone, anything up to 30 meters away from the instrument, look at the readings live, and do your adjustments. You can also save the information straight to your phone, so you can then email direct from your phone as well. You don't have to email from the instrument. So it's this second screen option that really brings a lot more flexibility, and it's the fact that you can actually now report direct from your smartphone as well. It means you don't have to worry about hotspotting the 300 to your mobile phone to maybe get a report out. You can literally send the information from the 300 to your phone, save it, and then email direct from your phone or tablet. So the 300 generates its own internal PDF report. This is a report that's not editable in any way. It's a preformed layout that is done for you. You can add, for example, as you can see from the top of the report here, you can add a company logo and your company details. If you've got a customer, that information will be pulled through from obviously your settings, and it will tell you information on that and the measuring site information. And then within this report, you can have multiple measurements. So you could have multiple flue gas measurements. You could have a mixture of flue gas combustion readings with tightness and net by readings, flow and return. There isn't a limit really on how many measurements you put into a report. It's just obviously going to take more and more pages. But this report is constructed in a PDF format, and so this can either be sent from the instrument directly by connecting it to a Wi-Fi network, or you could use your smartphone as a hotspot. Or with the connectivity to the smart app, you can just request this data straight into the smart app. It bundles it up into the same sort of report, and it's sent direct from the app itself. So you can see here, this is actually the quick reports. This is the same report, but being pulled through from the smart app. So the advantage here, you're not having to worry about pairing the instrument. Your phone typically will already have settings for your email, so you can just literally save that, drop it into an email, send it to your clients. We've also in the UK just now got the option of using the 300 analyzer with a couple of the most popular third-party apps that are out there for reporting. So this is typically going to allow you to do sort of automatic upload of key combustion values into some specific digital certificates, such as the landlord certificates that are used a lot in the UK. Basically, what we're working with currently is two apps. We've got Gas App UK. The connectivity there is via Bluetooth. So effectively, as you go through the certificate procedure, at one point in there, it asks you to import the readings from the 300, and it's just pulling the data automatically across. So the ratio value, the CO, and things like that, and then puts it directly into the certificate. And we've also just completed work with the Gas Certificate app, where they've gone a slightly different aspect. They're using the 300 has a function to upload the data via a QR code into their app. But this is really something we've been working towards for a while. It's actually getting the device to talk to other third-party apps, where typically these guys are doing specific digital certificates for particular markets. So one of the problems we've had is getting Germany to understand. In the UK, we do need sometimes some very specific certificates. The app that the PDF report the instrument generates isn't typically what engineers want. These apps already generate the certificate. It's just getting the information into them. But we've now got the option of these two that will work with the Testo 300. And if you still want to use a more traditional printer option, you've got that with the 300. We use a Bluetooth rather than infrared printer. Benefit of that is it doesn't have to be direct line of sight, where a lot of the infrared printers you've got to be no more typically than 6 inches away from the instrument. With this, it can be up to 10 meters away. It's a rechargeable lithium-ion battery in the printer, and also a very, very fast print. It will print the full results out in around 2 seconds. So compared to some printers which can take 10, 15 seconds to actually get the report out, this is very, very quick. But if you want the traditional more printing option, we've got that available as well with the 300. So obviously we spoke earlier about the difference. I think we're one of the few manufacturers who really have a defined range of instruments for domestic boiler testing and commercial. And so we're really proud of the 300 LL and its heritage with the previous 330 LL, where you've got this potential for damage to CO sensors where you've got much higher levels. Sometimes you could be looking at higher flue temperatures, and the standard probes won't be suitable. Requirements for obviously a calculated NOx. That's where the 300 LL really does start to shine against some of the other competitors that are out there. And typically we see some people, we have it's an ongoing issue in the UK. We have people who are using the wrong analyzer for the wrong job. We've got FM companies, for example, trying to use domestic analyzers on very large commercial boilers, and then wondering why they've got very high service bills because their engineers are always just knocking CO sensors out through spikes. Sometimes it's about picking the right analyzer for the job. One of the other side of the LL, because the sensors on it are beefed up, they actually have 5-year expected lifespan, whereas the domestic analyzers at year 3 will be having a sensor change. So the LL actually stands for long life. So the sensors on this, as I say, will be expected to give you a 5-year lifespan. So overall, with all these product updates we've made to the Testo 300, the connectivity to the smart probes, connectivity to the app, we really think now the instrument itself, it was a good instrument before, but now it really presents itself to being very, very efficient in sort of workflow. Whether you're doing domestic or commercial boiler service, being able to get all your information very, very quickly and easily into the display that you want to see, but also more importantly, be able to get that information into some form of report as well. You've seen from the different reporting sort of aspects that the instrument can do, got a wide range of way of getting that information to your clients. And obviously to try and keep the cost down for you guys, all the Testo domestic and light commercial analyzers are all supported by a fixed cost service and calibration scheme. So for example, on the domestic analyzers currently, £109, which is for years, any of the years where a sensor isn't replaced. That will be your service and calibration cost, and then the year where the sensors need replacing is £149, and those costs are actually fixed for 5 years currently. But we try and keep it so that obviously the service costs are very much fixed, so that you can plan hopefully in ahead and you understand what your sort of service costs are going to be across the life of the instrument. So really wrapping all this up, what do we think the advantages really of the flue gas analyzer from Testo and Testo products generally? We've got a really comprehensive portfolio. We don't only offer a flue gas analyzer, dare I say, for the domestic market. We've got the ones for the commercial with the right design, right criteria. We've got our brand quality and our heritage. We've got a range of options to hopefully suit all the different budgets and applications. We've got the wide range of other products out there as well for heating service engineers. They've got thermal imaging cameras, smart probes, manometers. It's not just about flue gas analyzers. We've got the fixed cost service to try and help keep the lifetime cost low for yourself as well. And it's the support as well, whether it's the support from Charlie directly, and then us in the UK to try and help him if he needs any backup from a technical support aspect or product training as well. So it's a well supported product. And you've probably heard enough of me wittering on now, so it's really over to you guys. If you've got any particular questions, if there's anything you want to put into the chat box, we're more than happy to try and answer any questions you've sort of got either directly from the presentation, or if there's anything else regarding Testo that we can help you with. Please do give us something to talk about. Okay, I've got Richie is he's put something in there. So your 300 is 2 years old. Can it be upgraded? Absolutely. So because of its age there, that one will actually need to come back to HQ to have the latest firmware. Once it's had that latest firmware put in, that will then automatically update in future via this connectivity to the app. So it wouldn't need to then come back in to have any further upgrades. You'll be able to actually update it yourself. But if that's 2 years old, that probably will need to have the full factory update applied by our service department. Obviously, once you've got that update applied, the other advantage is that will also then allow all the communication to the Bluetooth adapter. So if you wanted to go the connectivity to smart probes, all you need to do then is, if you've got existing smart probes, just buy the Bluetooth adapter. Or if you haven't got smart probes and really would like to buy the bundle, you can go for the smart upgrade kit. But certainly, even back to 300s that were first manufactured 4 years ago, they can all be upgraded to the latest spec. And you've also put the question that can Testo be calibrated in Ireland yet? Unfortunately, currently not. It's something I'm trying to twist Charlie's arm, and I think that both myself and Mar MD we're both applying lots of arm twisting to Charlie. But yeah, certainly it's something we would love to be in the position to be able to have the service done directly in Ireland, save obviously the time involved in getting them back to the UK.
John, I think we're aiming to have it up and running by maybe April of this year, so, or the coming year, so it'll finally get here after a lot of talking about it.
That's fantastic to hear. No, it'll be a real great thing for everybody over there to obviously have a much more flexible and easier route to service. Dave's put a question up. Can you increase the memory with the instrument? I'm constantly, yeah, it's an interesting one. I don't know what firmware you're running on yours, Dave. When they did the update again back in November, one of the things that was done in the background was a change to the way the files are compiled. Because obviously one of the issues with storage is the Android module that we have in this, unfortunately, can't have like an extra SD card in it to add it into the memory. So it's got a 64 gig memory in there, but they've changed the compression. So we should now, from say September last year, be able to get 3 times as much data into the memory. But it is an issue. I've got some people who are doing, a lot of testing, and they've got instruments that are typically, coming out for 4 years old, and we are finding they are running out of memory capability. Germany are looking at some other options at the moment for potentially increasing the memory. So there is at the moment a slot in the device, but it's not actually activated to take an SD card. But that might be the other option we can look at. It's something that, say, Germany are aware of, and hopefully we'll be able to give you some more information regarding memory size over the next couple of months. I see Richie's just put up a message saying, "Love the smart probes." Yeah, thanks for it. They've been probably the most successful product I can remember at Testo. I've been at Testo 12 years now, and they are a product that even now 6 years on are still, loads of people are really finding the benefits of the smart probes. Sometimes, it might be outside of connectivity to the 300. Just the probes themselves offer an incredibly flexible platform for turning your smartphone or tablet into a very fully featured measuring device. And obviously, you can do all your reporting with the app. We've actually just also updated the app, so if you've got the Bluetooth printer, for example, you can now actually print results direct from the app. So if you've got smart probes and you want a quick and easy recording, you can actually literally just connect the Bluetooth printer to the smart app and get your smart probes to have the values printed out as well. Okay, so you said, what can the app do with the report from the 300? So it used to be that if you wanted to get the PDF report out the 300, you would have to hotspot it to your mobile phone. So you'd use your mobile phone effectively as a transmission point to then get the app out via email. It was a little bit clunky, to be honest. What the app now does is it requests the PDF report directly from the 300. So the PDF report is transmitted across to the app, and then literally from the app, because your phone is probably already set up for your email and your Outlook will be on your phone, you can literally just send it direct from your phone. So it really does cut out that whole sort of extra step of having to connect the 300 to a phone. Phone is a hotspot, and then I can get an email out. Also, it avoids having to do the email setup on the 300, which I will be the first to admit wasn't always the easiest option. The fact that the app basically can just pull that PDF straight across, you've then got it on your phone directly, straight into an email, boom, it goes out. It's much quicker. So you've got, but you can save the PDF on your job card. Yeah, again, because once it's on your phone, because you've got the option internally in the phone to save it. If you've got some sort of workflow or job flow software, if it's able to allow an upload of a document, you could potentially upload that PDF to that, so that you then got it in. But you can save the PDF on your job card. Yeah, again, because once it's on your phone, because you've got the option internally in the phone to save it. If you've got some sort of workflow or job flow software, if it's able to allow an upload of a document, you could potentially upload that PDF to that, so that you then got it included with any other information or documentation you've got. Okay, Service Mate. It's not one I'm familiar with. I'll try and have a look into that and see if it's one I can actually get either a trial of and have a play around with it. That's handy to know. That it's always good to hear what people are using in the way of other workflow software, because what we'd like to try and do is try and get the 300 working with as many of them as we can. So I'll have a look into that one. Yeah, John's put up share via Bluetooth works too. Yep, you've got the option, and this is pre the connectivity to the app. You can do a Bluetooth file transfer. So when you actually get your app up, the PDF report up or your results up, one of the options you had was to obviously email or print, but you could also do a Bluetooth file share, which was used by a few people. One of the problems we found with that, though, is that only works if you've got an Android phone or tablet. Unfortunately, Apple, in the wisdom, and I don't quite know why this is, they actually block a file share via Bluetooth. So as long as you've got an Apple phone or an Apple tablet, you can do a Bluetooth file share with the 300 directly. But if you have an Apple phone or an Apple tablet, unfortunately, you can't do that share via Bluetooth. Again, this is one of the real reasons we moved to the connectivity with the app, because the app will run obviously on an Android device or an Apple device. And because of the way it's working inside the app, the PDF document gets shared absolutely fine. Yeah, Richie, so you just put looking at the refrigeration setup with Testo. Yeah, it's interesting. We're seeing a massive surge in interest in the. I mean, we've always classed them as refrigeration products, but obviously they're products that are eminently suitable for heat pumps. And we're seeing a lot of guys who maybe traditionally knew of Testo through the flue gas analyzers, but obviously we've had a massive range of products for the heat pump engineers going back 30 years. Been heat pumps in Germany for that long, and we've been supplying the heat pump service market for a long time. So yeah, we're seeing a lot of people now where traditionally they would have been looking at our products from a flue gas perspective, but they're now saying, well, hey, we know the market in a lot of cases is going to be looking at heat pumps. I'm going to need to be geared up for those as well. So we're seeing a growing interest in our range of products from the refrigeration sector, but so typically going to be used on heat pumps, either monoblock or splits. Okay, I think we've run out of questions. So all I can say is thank you to Charlie for getting this all set up today. It's been great to have an opportunity to present a bit of information about the 300. Hopefully we'll be able to do another one of these again on some other products. Maybe we'll have to chat about the products for heat pump. Charlie, do one on that.